But generally speaking, most teaching I know of, you have to do many things, you have to go through many hoops before you practice the final practice, which is the practice of leaving yourself alone, not doing anything to yourself, not interfering with your own experience, letting your experience be just exactly the way it is, 100%. But usually, many of the teaching, you have to be first get into kind of a very expanded, deep, conditioned state of, of being or of realization, when it is possible to see how you're interfering one way or another with that state, and then you see those subtle movement of your mind or consciousness that you can let them go or surrender them to be in that state. But those practices are considered things that are only, you have to be close to being a saint or a Buddha to be able to do them. And of course, not some teaching try to circumvent that by beginning from the beginning of the path, by dealing with that dilemma from the beginning. And those practices usually depend on transmission, that the teacher transmits the condition and the student catches it, like catching a cold. And if you catch it enough time, it might stick. It might become a permanent contagion. And it seems for many of the ways that people look at it, they seem, my understanding is that they think that there's nothing you can do, there's no approach to your experience that will make it possible for you to be in this condition of openness, surrendered heart, open soul, where something can happen, can pop, and you recognize the reality. That's what's needed. And they say, whatever you do is going to obstruct the way. And generally speaking, all those practices you do at the beginning will somehow obstruct the way, although they will give you some kind of experience or another, some kind of taste or another. Now, the contribution of this book is recognition that it is possible to be with our experience in a certain way that does not require us to be a near saint. That it is possible to deal with the dilemma from the beginning without having to be in that accomplished condition of such big surrender. You have gone through many ego deaths, you have realized emptiness and pure awareness, or you have seen the unity of true nature and you're residing in it, and then you deal with those remaining little things that those ultimate yogas do. Since most of us are not in those places, and since most of us actually don't have the time to be able to get to those places, because it requires years and years of solitude, dedication. In the diamond approach, we recognize that there is a way of being with our experience that make it possible for us to deal with the dilemma head on right from the beginning. That non-doing can be seen as the core of a practice that will appear to people who are just starting as a beginning practice. It doesn't have to be the most advanced practice. You don't have to get to the state of Anupaya yoga or Buddhist non-meditation or Wu Wei to be able to practice it. Because for most of us, if we have to wait for that, we might as well wait till another lifetime. I'm not joking. It's usually very few people can do that, you see. And this way that the book describes, actually, attempts to impart, that we can be with our experience in such a way that we don't do anything to it. Without our experience has to be that deep realized condition. It could be any experience. It could be you're feeling scared and you don't do anything to that. You could be that you're feeling excited and you don't do anything to that. You could be that you're feeling like a failure and you don't do anything to that. It could be that you're feeling that you're very sad, or you're hurt, or you're really mad, or you're really jealous, or you're feeling that you're really old and decrepit and sick and hopeless, and not do anything about that. Can be, in other words, in any condition, which means it is something, it's a practice we can engage in wherever we are, whatever happens to be our state. Because we're always in some kind of condition or another. You're always experiencing one thing or another. Always. Unless you're in deep sleep. And even in deep sleep, you're experiencing something, you just don't know it. But usually, when we're conscious, we're experiencing one thing or another. And what we found, that the problem here, the difficulty, is not that we're not experiencing the enlightened state. The difficulty is that we are interfering with the experience regardless of what it is. When I'm feeling sad, I'm not letting myself just feel sad as possible, and feel it completely, whatever it is, and let it come out and be sad and let it reveal itself. What's it about? What I'm sad about? All of it. When we're feeling sad, we're sort of either telling ourselves, no, there's no need to feel sad, or you're feeling, blaming yourself for one thing or another, or you're trying to change it to being happy. No, I should think of something more positive. Right? I should think of visualize a beautiful yellow rose and make me feel not sad. Because sadness is very unhappy. Whatever we do, or if you're feeling mad or hateful, for instance, right? That's a good one. Most of us feeling hateful, I'm bad. I better do something about that. It's rarely that we let ourselves feel hateful and say, that's what I feel. I feel in this moment, I'm just hateful. I hate them. And I wring their necks. That's how I feel. Can't help it, not going to do anything about it, just going to be there. I'm a hateful kind of person right now. You see, we don't let ourselves feel that way. We always want to do something about, okay, now let's do compassion meditation. Hatefulness is not good, it's not spiritual, it's going to make me miserable in the end, and it's true. If you stay hateful, you're going to be miserable. However, approaching it by trying to change it, we're already engaged in that dilemma. I'm trying to change my experience, you see. I'm interfering with it instead of just letting it be. So the book basically describes a practice which I discuss as finding where we are. Finding where we are and letting ourselves be there. Meaning finding where we are, not mean finding our enlightened condition, finding where we are, whatever is happening to us at the moment. What is it? There's always something happening, but most of the time we don't let ourselves even know where we are. I might be really feeling failure and empty and